Close. Rachael Denhollander, a survivor of sexual abuse by former USA gymnastics doctor Larry Nassar, shares thoughts before delivering her impact statement at Ingham County Circuit Court in Lansing, Michigan, on the final day of Nassar's sentencing hearing. Jenna Watson/Indy Star. Lansing, Michigan. Rachael and Jacob Denhollander have been telling their kids that mommy has been going to business meetings this week, but reality slipped into the conversation Tuesday when their oldest child, a 6-year-old boy, asked his father what a pedophile is. "We've grown so accustomed to talking about this sort of thing that I've been really grateful we haven't slipped up in front of the kids," Jacob said. "Up until just yesterday, apparently," Rachael said, "they told the boy it's a crime and left it at that." Rachael and Jacob shared that story on the 75-minute, early morning drive Wednesday to a courthouse in Lansing, Michigan, where all the stresses Rachael had been feeling over the last 16 months would come to a head. Out of balance, an Indy Star investigation into USA gymnastics. More. Rachael Denhollander, first to publicly accuse Nassar, makes final victim statement. More. Former USA gymnastics doctor accused of abuse. After court, there would be a news conference and then appearances scheduled for CNN and BBC. She had an op-ed to write for the New York Times. "I'm supposed to get it done tonight," Rachael said. "That might be a bit of a stretch." As the van neared the courthouse, Jacob suggested he drop off Rachael in front. "Why?" "Because you're pregnant." Rachael said she'd walk from the garage, and thus began the latest chapter in a journey launched with an email to a newspaper. One that raised her out of obscurity, exposed her to criticism, and eventually accomplished her goal. One day, she was a lawyer and stay-at-home mom of 3 kids, all 5 and under, living in a small home in Louisville. When she left Wednesday, she had an international identity. The Denhollanders did manage to keep up some routines while staying in the Kalamazoo home where Rachael grew up. There were bedtime prayers and singing for the kids. They sing Amen in some verses of Amazing Grace. Rachael Denhollander and her husband, Jacob, walk hand in hand as they prepare to enter the Ingham County Circuit Court at about 7:30 a.m. Lansing, Michigan, Wednesday, January 24, 2018. Photo, Jenna Watson/Indy Star. Giving a voice to others. Denhollander was the first woman to put her name on public allegations that a famous, beloved former USA gymnastics doctor was a child molester. Rachael would be the last of 156 survivors to testify in a sentencing hearing that would get him a sentence of 175 years. That outcome was unimaginable on the morning Indy Star published its first story in an ongoing investigation of USA gymnastics and how it handled sexual abuse complaints. On the morning of publication, Denhollander emailed the reporters, "I recently read the article titled Out of Balance published by the Indy Star. My experience may not be relevant to your investigation, but I am emailing to report an incident that maybe I was not molested by my coach, but I was molested by Larry Nassar, the team doctor for USAG. I was 15 years old, and it was under the guise of medical treatment for my back." The alleged abuse had occurred more than 10 years earlier, and had never been reported to police. Nassar hadn't been affiliated with USA Gymnastics since 2015, and, it seemed at the time, the doctor might have been performing a legitimate procedure. Denhollander said Nassar's sterling reputation was part of the reason she had hesitated to come forward earlier. Before the interview, Denhollander expressed her motivation in an email to reporters in August 2016. "My hope with the story would be that it would give a voice to others who have also been victims, and encourage them to come forward as well. I know this will be a long road, if it goes anywhere at all." On the day of the interview with an Indy Star reporter and photographer, toys were outside the front door of the Denhollanders' small home. Books lined the shelves inside. It broke some of the palpable tension in the room when the photographer asked the well-educated Denhollander to recite the ABCs for a sound check. Then things turned serious again. Denhollander remained composed as she recounted the abuse by the famous doctor at age 15 as a club-level gymnast. After about 45 minutes, the interview ended and Denhollander shared 110 pages of medical records related to her treatment by Nassar. Afterward, she recalled, the Denhollanders sat on the couch wrapped in a blanket, knowing that the following week Rachael would report a criminal allegation about Nassar to Michigan State University police and a Title IX violation to the university's Office of Institutional Equity. Denhollander made that report on August 29, 2016. Exclusive. Nassar was sometimes arrogant, sometimes nervous. During only interview on sex abuse. How the investigation started. Nassar's downfall began with an email to Indy Star in September, IndyStar published a story with Denhollander's accusations against Nassar as well as those of an anonymous accuser who later went public as Olympian Jamie Domschur. Despite having been only a club-level gymnast, Denhollander was a natural as the face of the criminal and civil cases, poised, smart, sincere.